Hello everyone and welcome to my Leading Edge Certification 6.1 discussion. And I decided to do a little bit something a little bit different for the discussion. Decided to make a video because what I really wanted to do was demonstrate the tool, the Web 2.0 tool that I'm going to use, which is called Google Forms. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick demo of Google Forms, and we'll talk a little bit about the components of how this tool fits into Tuttle. So if you take a look at Google Forms, my initial idea here was I wanted to be able to assess student learning somehow, and so the way I chose to do this is with an assessment tool. I've used a modified version of this tool in the past, and so this is a Google form. I call it the digital Scantron, and so basically in the online setting I would have my students take a quick assessment here. So they would put in their last name, they would put in their first name, the teacher's name here. This is predominantly if I want to have multiple teachers use the single form, and they would basically choose what the answers are on the assessment, and they'd go down to the bottom over here and they would hit submit. So once they hit submit, their information is captured and time-stamped, and this is basically some data that you're seeing here. This is what the students would have put in. Once I have all of this information here, I can run a bunch of formulas and be able to take a look at some data. So let me go over here to this DisAg tab, and what this tab does is it shows me all of the students who have taken the assessments. So let me zoom in here just a bit. So you can see here I have 305 students who took the assessment. Overall correct was 51%, and I even have a breakdown here. Here's my answer key. So for question 1, the answer was A. 115 of my students got A correct, and 180 got selected C. So now I'm beginning to see my biggest distractor. And so I can begin to pull data. I can also pull data if we have multiple teachers using this assessment. Now if you take a look, I went ahead and put in my name here, and you can see I just have 250 submissions for my students, and overall 50%. I can even break this down by period if I'm using this in a blended situation, or if I'm doing a straight online, I can do multiple cohorts. So this is the information it gives me. And if you'll notice over here, for this student, you can see that they got 7 answers correct. I have another answer key, or I have the answer key here that tells the spreadsheet which ones are correct and which ones are wrong. Now, so that's how the students are able to respond, which is the first phase of Tuttle's. The second phase is monitoring that response, which is what you see here. And then we can go ahead and start diagnosing the responses. Now I can diagnose these responses in multiple ways. I have a full class view here, and I can take a look at things like distractors. I can take a look at which questions were answered correctly and which ones were not. This is something that we haven't really talked about in the Leading Edge certification class, and that is, how do I modify my content? What data do I get back as an instructor that allows me to tweak my my LMS to make sure that I'm hitting all of the proper standards or all the proper items that I want to. So that's how I'm able to almost self-monitor and self-regulate. I'd like to show you also a feedback that we could create here for each student. So here's a typical student. So this person's last name is Arthur. Let's put in another person right here. I know there's a student named Russo. So I type in Russo, and as you can see here, Craig Russo got 9 correct. There's also a little message here to Craig. Hello, Craig. On this assignment, you scored 9 out of 12. Take a look at the feedback below and review the questions you might have missed. So this column right here is showing me Craig's answers. This column is showing me the correct answers from the answer key, and this is showing me which this is going to show Craig, of course, because what I would do is I would print this out, and then I would email it to him or send it to him in his Dropbox. So Craig can now see that he got number 1, number 3, and number 6 incorrect. So all that Craig has to do now, here in terms of feedback, I don't have anything populated right now, but what I would do here is I would do something like this. The correct answer is C. If you selected B, then please take a look at the difference between meiosis and mitosis in chapter 2. And then if you selected A, please. So basically I would have all of the possible answers and provide all the possible feedback right here. So it would look probably something like this. So as you can see here, he would look over here, he would see that he got this incorrect. The correct answer is B. He would say, oh, okay, I selected C. He would go to C, so forth and so on. I think you guys pretty much get the idea. So the share feedback based on diagnosis when it comes to Tuttle, so what I would do is I would go ahead and I would print this. And of course, in printing it, Google Docs automatically creates a PDF. So here's the PDF right here. And what I would do is I would just email this to the student. And that's a way of getting feedback back to the student and allowing them an opportunity to take a look at what they did. So how the student uses feedback to learn, I think, it's that interaction, and through the discussion boards is what, is the place where we would see a lot of that interaction happening. Report growth and celebrate, of course, on the learning management system, we would hope that, very easily you could require in a learning management system for a student to go through those ones that they missed and then write a discussion post about what they missed and why they missed it. And I think that would be pretty good on the report growth and celebrate. Okay, so that's my video for the assessment tool. Once again, the assessment tool I chose is Google Forms. They're pretty easy to set up, and you have the ability to do a number of really nice things in terms of pulling data and providing feedback to students. If any of you are interested in taking a look at this template for use in an online environment or in a hybrid environment, please let me know. I am more than willing to answer any questions about it or assist you guys with it. Okay? So thanks, and we'll see you online.